to WFN's Extra Time Football Podcast. You can email the show at admin@worldfooty.net or alternatively post a comment on our Facebook page or Twitter feed.
The Premier League title is back at Old Trafford, but what's brewing with the other competitions in the English League, including the battle for European places and the fight for survival at the foot of the table? Also, who will be coming up from the English Championship? And what of the Premiership Best 11, which was announced this past week? We'll cover this, including the question of the week and the usual reviews in this episode of the Extra Time Football Podcast. Hello everyone, we're ready to get into this episode from May 1st, 2013, and I'm joined by Bex Nolan, Bobby Fu, and a special visit from our Liverpool and Barcelona supporter, Faz. And yeah, good to have her back. It's been a little while. And but before we get into the meat of the topics, I wanted to kind of follow Arsenal's fine example from the weekend and start off with an episode with a WFN honor guard for the champions of England, Manchester United. So feel free, guys, if you want to start singing and chanting about the champions.
I'm going to start vomiting instead, please.
I just wanted to see what everybody wanted to say.
Yeah, I'm a Leeds fan. If I get caught doing that, that's the end of my life.
Okay. Oh, well, okay. Well, it's the spirit of it all. So, but yeah, I just wanted to throw a little bit of antagonistic stuff out there.
Yeah, that's more like it.
There you go. That's my crew. All right. Well, getting into this, I mean, from the first question that I'll put out there, do you think the manner in which United won the title with 4 games to spare is a direct response to the way they lost it the previous year? And part B to that, do you think there'll be a similar response by other clubs in the coming season to dethrone United again? And Bobby, let me start with you on a question like that. What do you think?
Well, let's face it. I think first and foremost, I think I called the title back in January. So I don't want to hear anything about how nobody knew this wasn't coming down the road. It was not a matter of if, it was a matter of when. And congratulations to them because they did it the same all year long. Not the most flashiest, not the most, what would be a better word, flowing way to win a title, but you know what? That's not what it's about. It's about winning it, not anything else. You know what I mean?
Are you surprised that City didn't mount more of a challenge? You know, judging
not
from
with that manager.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be that honest with you. With that manager, and God help us if they ever get somebody
right.
that knows how to deal with prima donna players, for crying out loud. But I just don't. Not with that manager. No, a dogged determination, much like Sir Alex Ferguson himself. That's how United won that title.
Yeah, I understand that. Bex, do you have a thought on that question?
I mean, I think they were the most consistent. They were able to get the really tough results against the tough, weaker teams at the bottom half of the table. City, I don't know if it was a lack of experience or just a loss of focus or something like that with their slip-ups in some key games that could have, I can count at least 9 points that they should have had in the past 2 months. That could have kept the title a lot closer to the end of the season, but they just slipped up. But it's just that mentality of winning, that way of winning and refusing to quit with their early goals. In the 5th minute stoppage time, injury time, they never laid down. They never said never. And they've been in that situation before, being Man United. So I think they just had the experience over City. And to your second part of the question is this going to make teams come back stronger? I don't know. Looking at the news in the papers with Ferguson supposedly for the last 4 months trying to beef up the signings for next season, who knows? I can only see them coming back stronger. There's absolutely no way they can come back any weaker.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I am interested to see what somebody like City will do, though, with all the enormous talent they have. But we've all talked about the manager that they have there too. It's one thing to have the money and the talent, but if you don't have somebody that can corral that those egos and put together a cohesive unit, it's kind of a waste. And I think they proved it this season.
It's hard to get the respect for the manager. Like, how long's Ferguson been there? 20-something years?
Yeah,
like,
25.
It's hard to get respect for the manager that's only been there a season or 2 seasons or, and then possibly, at one point he was to blame. And who's not saying that next season he's not going to be to blame again when things get tough, and then he's going to call out Joe Hart for making silly mistakes. Ferguson doesn't do that to his players.
Right. And, we later on, maybe we'll get into a little bit about Di Canio versus, Martin O'Neill with the Sunderland situation. But I see that a lot of times the managers can take a lot of blame that really needs to go into other sectors of the club, whether it's the ownership or the players themselves. So that'll be interesting. Faz, what are your thoughts? You're a close rival there with Liverpool. How sick is it for you to see this happen again?
Much as I hate to admit, I think it became clear quite early on just which way the title was going to swing. And I denied it for ages, which was fun. But but yeah, I think everyone's pretty much covered exactly what it said. And unfortunately, United are pretty strong right now, and I agree. Then there's no chance of them coming back next season and not making the top 4, not being as strong as they are now. But hopefully, someone else will be there to take the title next season, not them.
We'll see. It is interesting from a Liverpool's perspective. I remember when Ferguson first took on the manager's job there, and one of his motivations was to top the achievements in the league that Liverpool had gained. Do you see a familiar, maybe kind of boomerang effect from a Liverpool standpoint now that they have Brendan Rodgers? He's kind of getting himself established there. Do you think that, hey, it's time for us to get back into the groove, get our squad to where we need to be and get back at United? Do you see something like that, or is it some other type of motivation you think that Liverpool needs?
I think that kind of atmosphere has always been there. Everyone's always going on about, hey, yeah, you guys have had your glory days, but we've always been adamant that no, that's not the case. And I think perhaps it's a case of getting the right man to bring us back to those glory days, about bringing us back to the top. And I think I have definitely seen a change in Brendan Rodgers. Everyone seems a lot more motivated, and there's a lot more of a thirst and a desire to win games. Sure, we've not been brilliant or on the top of our game, but comparing performance with last season, for example, we've definitely improved.
Right. And so is Rodgers the right guy now for you?
I think so. I think you've got to give the guy credit. He's come in at such a difficult time, and I don't want to be the next Chelsea where we're firing managers left, right, and centre. You've got to stick through with someone. You've got to give them that chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed. Okay. Well, the next topic I wanted to get into is the past week's results. And as usual, we'll get into this part of the podcast and talk about either how your team got on or maybe another match of interest that you wanted to talk about. And let me start with you, Bex. Can you go over either your team leads in the championship or whatever caught your eye?
I don't really want to talk about Leeds because we lost, and 2 players were sent off, 1 from each team. Yeah. The only good thing is we are safe, but if everyone below us wins and we don't, we are sitting like 4th from bottom. So at least go out with a bit of pride for the end of the season. But we have Watford away. But the past result we lost against Brighton, which was frustrating because it was also at home. So don't really want to talk about Leeds, but I did watch all the Premier League games, and the results that caught my eye were obviously Liverpool because my husband's a Liverpool supporter. So I had to watch that.
I'm sorry.
Hey, that was a good game, okay? Worth watching.
I mean, I was complaining at first, but it actually turned out to be goals galore. So,
yeah.
So and it made the relegation at the bottom a little bit more interesting because Newcastle are right down there now. So,
yeah.
It was good to see Liverpool bang some goals in because the system that Rodgers plays is a good system and has a ton of potential. If he can continue with the personnel that he's got there. Henderson's coming along nicely, so being captain of the England under-21, so I think he's growing into a good young leader.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then obviously the Villa-Sunderland game, that was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going forward though with Leeds, with your new manager, it's sort of the same question I gave to Faz. Do you see them kind of answering some of the negative stuff that happened this season with a possible promotion next season?
Judging by the way they've been playing the second half of the season, they actually never even really got off to a great start of making, consistently consecutive wins. But I don't know. I mean, McDermott's got the experience with bringing that type of team up. But Bates said in the news the other week that the reason they sold Becchio is because they couldn't afford his wages. How is that going to attract anyone to the club?
Yeah, that's not good news to give out like that.
No, and he's on his way out, so he probably doesn't care.
Any chance Bates is going to get out of there?
Apparently, they're saying that he's supposed to be gone after they find new owners that don't keep backing out after 2 weeks. He's supposed to be gone, but I don't know. I mean, I hope that, because Leeds have always had a fantastic youth system. So pull from the youth, get everyone that's injured back healthy, possibly anyone that's on loan, and just try and keep everyone past the January transfer window and see if we can string along some consistent results to at least get into the playoff spots.
Yeah. Well, it'd be good to see them back. I mean, with the history that Leeds has, they really should be back in the top league. But everything depends probably on what's going on at the admin level at this point.
Didn't they go? I can't remember when they went. I think I read that 9 years ago they went down, and they did go down to League One at one point, but came straight back up. But we haven't been in the top flight for 9 years.
Yeah, and it wasn't the thing that surprised me about when they went out, because they were in the Champions League. What was it, 3 years before they went down?
Yeah, like 2001 or something. They were in the freaking semi-finals against Valencia. I remember watching it with Harry Kewell and Ferdinand, and it just
went all pear-shaped really, really fast. And I just feel really bad for the supporters. Yeah. They've had to suffer because of that, and through no fault of their own. It's been great support. Yeah,
they've been loyal the whole time. Like, I was looking at the attendance as well, and it's very consistent in the high teens, low 20,000s for Leeds. So they've got loyal supporters, but I'm not going to set my sights too high, but I'm also not going to set them too low because, I love them. I love Leeds. So I'm hoping for at least a playoff spot next year.
Yeah, well, you got a new start, so let's see what happens next season. Finish strong this year, and we'll see if that carries over to next season.
Yes.
All right. Well, Bobby, what about Arsenal? What's going on with you?
Well, I think this past week just showed the difference between the two sides.
What a great start, though.
Well, of course, great start or not, they don't follow it up. Score a second goal and maybe the game is put away. But one goal is never enough against United. And they came, I think this past year, they have come back from being down like 10 times to get points out of a situation. And that's a pretty remarkable record, considering, that they were the most dominant team in the Premier League this year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I also think, a fair result. Arsenal wanted at least a draw, not to be humiliated. All I can think about is the 8-2 match. That's all I can. Just don't mirror that, and I'm more than happy as far as that goes. But it could have gone either way. It just seemed like everybody lost the fire and spark in the second half that they had in the first. That's kind of not how you want to have, finish things off. A draw is a fair result. They are the champions of the league. Heck, sometimes that's all especially if you're a team playing not your best, that's what you want. You want a draw, even if you need the full 3 points.
Yeah, and you're not in a bad spot right now.
Well, I wish we had gone for it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Maybe tried to do something a little differently, but like I tell everybody else, if I want tactics, I'm certainly not going to get any before the 60th minute. As horrible as that sounds, it's true though.
It was a perfect start though, because when I was watching the game and seeing the ball go in the second minute, I was thinking, that is exactly what they wanted, to be on top of a team that is still hungover from, celebrations and whatever, and you really needed the 3 points. But like you said, they couldn't carry it through. They had a superb first 20 to 30 minutes.
Right.
And it looked like they could really get 2, maybe 3, and really coast out the rest of the game, but they couldn't put it in the back of the net. And then of course, United kind of woke up later and got back in the match. And I thought they had a better second half than Arsenal.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah. I at the end, Kent was telling me at the end that he was just hoping, come on, just hold on for a draw, for crying out loud. Yeah. My friend Kent went over with 4 other people and went and saw that match. And he said he's still undefeated. He is undefeated in like 9 trips to see Arsenal. So
wow.
That kind of made me happy. Yeah, I know, right? Including the win at Fulham. So,
yeah,
that sort of thing always helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to put some thoughts in the article on the Manchester United side, but I did want to touch on, just in honor of Kirk, I wanted to touch on that pretty much disastrous display by Sunderland, losing the way they did. And I know from Kurt's point of view, it can seem like the end of the world against Aston Villa, but I think that Kurt's been a fan all of his life. We all have been on the hiding end of games like that. Like you mentioned, Fu, about the 8-2 game. Manchester United lost 6-1 at home to City, which I still have nightmares about.
Game. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks, Faz. And then, no, we won't go into Liverpool's failings the past few years. But
I've not seen the crown that we have.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's the type of thing that you have to take with a grain of salt and just look at it and say, hey, these things happen. Can we move on? The problem that I think that they're going to face now is that they've been putting this emotional backing to Di Canio in these first few games. What happens now that they see he's immortal, that he's human? Will they still be behind him the same way as they were O'Neill when he first took the helm and did so well at first? But he lost that support when he went through a sort of a dry spell. What's going to happen? And I mentioned this before, what's going to happen when Di Canio goes through the same type of spell? Are they still going to be behind him as strong as they were? And that's the fear, I think. These games happen for everybody, but I just hope that they kind of just forget about it and keep on moving on. Sunderland's in great shape. I think they're going to survive just fine. Mainly because Wigan are so far in the hole.
Yeah.
Right now, and it's just hard to see them going down. And I think actually, if it came down to it, Newcastle would go down before them anyway, which I think they'd be very happy to see anyway. But I'll be interested to get Kurt's thoughts on that coming up when he's back on the show. But Faz, what about you? What about the results for Liverpool this past weekend? And if you want to, I know there's been a lot of talk about Suarez and the bite and all that kind of stuff. But give us your opinion of first of all Liverpool, and then if you want to talk about Suarez, please add that in.
Well, let's just get Suarez out of the way with. I'm not even going to bother to defend him because what he's done is inexcusable, and I think it's a huge shame that he's bringing both down his reputation and that of the club. Whether you like him or not, you can't deny that he has talent. But
Absolutely.
When he does stupid stuff like this, it just ruins it, and you can't really blame anyone for the stuff they say. And again, you just can't defend something like that. So I'd never attempt to.
Right. He is a talent. I mean, he made the All Premiership 11, the PFA Award, so that tells you a lot. But go ahead.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say as far as I think.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can defend about him, and this is one of those times where you just can't.
Do you want to keep him?
Yeah, I do. He's obviously his position on that 11 just proves just how talented he is, and a lot of our goals have come from him, and there's just like this little spark about him when you see him playing, and it'd be a real shame to lose someone like him, but if he's going to stick around, he's got to step up his act. He can't go around behaving like that. That's just not acceptable.
And to his character, let me just put in from a Manchester United point of view, Eric Cantona went through something similar from his I guess his attitude on the field and his way of lashing out either at players or in one case a nice hooligan fan and at what was it Crystal Palace, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of his transformation, Cantona's transformation, came because of somebody like Alex Ferguson being able to shield him from the press, work with him individually. He was treated special, but he was a special person.
Right.
I see Suarez in the same light. I don't think, contrary to what people are saying, I don't think Suarez is a bad guy. I know they've talked about the racial slur and all this other stuff, but I think a lot of things are taken out of context. I think a lot of things are blown out of proportion. He's an excellent talent. It's just a matter of will he get the support from his management team, from his players, and change that reputation from something that's questionable to something that is a force for the team. I think that's down to Brendan Rodgers if he can pull it off, because if not, he might lose them to Spain or someplace else if things keep on going the way that they are. But I see a parallel there that, I think I agree with you in a lot of ways that they should try to keep him, but it'll be up to Rodgers to make the difference, I think. Just my 2 cents.
No, I do agree with you. I think it's obvious that support is still there ever since the whole racial thing and now this. Liverpool fans have always stuck by him. I don't think anyone's really kind of tried to justify what he's done, because you can't. But at the same time, he knows that support is there. I don't think it's just down to Rodgers in this case. I do think it's down to Suarez a lot, and I guess we'll have to find out next season whether he's up to scratch to stick around or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what did you think about that result, Newcastle? Did you see that coming, the 6-0?
That absolutely made my day. I'm so glad I gave it a day of revision for that.
well done, well said.
No, I didn't really see it coming. This season, Liverpool have just been so unpredictable. You never know what's happening with them. So to have a result like that just was absolutely incredible. From like the starting minute right up to the end, I was just thinking, why can we not play like this every single game? We just looked completely on it. Everyone was putting in so much effort. They looked like they really wanted the win, and we got that. So I think it's just a case of being consistent now.
Right. What about in the race that's coming up for the rest of the season? What are the goals for Liverpool now?
I think Sturridge
is
pretty much the answer right now. I think
Mm-hmm.
Obviously with Suarez banned for the next few games and whatnot, I think Sturridge has got a chance to absolutely prove himself and really show to Rodgers why he deserves to be in that 11. And he did it pretty well. I mean, I didn't have any complaints about him, but I think just the whole team's performance in general was really impressive for that game.
Yeah, I think they show flashes of what they could do in the league. So all of the stuff that's happening makes me anxious to see what happens for next season, but there's still some things to settle coming up for the last few games here. We have a relegation battle. We had QPR and Reading, who are already down, but there's still that spot that Wigan are in the lead of taking that final spot, but it's still kind of open. And so a question would be, for Wigan's point of view, can they do what they've done in the past couple of seasons, wave that magic wand and get out of the relegation places and doom somebody else, or are they finally run out of time and magic this time? And also with with the battle for the European places coming up, United obviously and Manchester City obviously have those first 2 spots, but there's still a lot of room to move around with the final 2 Champions League spots as well as the Europa League spots. And of course the cup competition throws a little monkey wrench into some of that. But Faz, let me start with you. So we were talking about Liverpool. We were talking about how they've kind of turned things around, got a good manager now, got some players to work with. Are they too far out of the spot to get to Europe this season? And what would that mean for keeping players coming up in the following season if they don't have European play to attract them?
Well, considering our next game is against Everton, I think it'll be really interesting to see what turn that takes. But in all honesty, I do think it's pretty much down to Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, and Everton for fourth now, because it's really close on points there. We've kind of been out of Europe for, annoyingly and sadly, a very long time now, a bit too long. But, I mean, we've managed to retain some of our top players, people like Suarez, Gerrard, everyone, they've still stuck around. So I think there's that desire there to bring Liverpool back into Europe. But next season, we've just got to do the job properly.
Right. Does that surprise you that you've been able to hold on to those ones because of the lack of European play?
A little bit. I think everyone kind of accepts that a team like Liverpool, considering our history and considering our players, what we're capable of, we definitely do belong in Europe. But yeah, because we've not been there, you do worry about those top players and whether you'll be able to get new signings in, who's going to stick around, what's going to happen to the club. But the players have seemed pretty loyal, and I think that's more important. I think there's more to Liverpool than just Europe, which is pretty cool.
And I think that has been the difference. I think if you're talking any other team, any mid-table team, at least, if you're talking Swansea City, West Ham or something, you would have already lost those guys. But I think the name Liverpool and the history behind it might be that extra something that'll keep guys around an extra year or two when they normally wouldn't be there. So I think that says a lot for you. Any thoughts on the relegation battle? Who you think might hit that last spot? Is it Wigan, or do you think somebody else might beat them to the punch?
I think it probably is going to be Wigan. Looking at the table now, looking at the points and games left to play, unfortunately, I do think it's going to be Wigan.
Yeah. I'm sad to see that because I like Martinez as a manager, but yeah, with what is it, 3 games to go for them, or 4 games to go?
It's 4 because they've got the FA Cup final, don't they?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and that of course is an issue there. And wouldn't it be interesting though if they overcame Manchester City in the cup final and got relegated in the same season? That'd be quite a story by itself.
Yeah, it would be.
Well, Fu, what about you? Any thoughts on both of the races that are remaining in the league, the race for European spots and the relegation race?
Well, of course, my dream would be if Tottenham were just to be swallowed by a giant sinkhole. They would relocate to Florida. It would sink into the earth and they would all perish. However, since that's not going to happen.
That could still happen. But go ahead.
It could still happen. There is a chance. But I mean, I think now Newcastle has the toughest road to climb out of the hole, to be honest with you. Wigan has come to play every week for the last 8 or 9 weeks now. I'm still backing Roberto Martinez to keep him away, to get him to safety. 40 is the magic number. 40 is the magic number. And I think I said that not too long ago. I think 40 is the magic number, and Wigan still has a chance to get out of that because they do have a match at hand, if I'm not mistaken. They do have 4 matches. Everybody else has 3.
Yeah.
So, they have a chance to get that magic number. Their goal difference is not going to help them at all.
That's a problem.
Newcastle is only like -9 goal difference.
Who, Newcastle? Newcastle are 23.
Are they -23?
Yeah.
Who has
-9? Fulham are at -9, but everybody else below that have more of a goal difference.
Really?
I think the only chance Wigan has is is the fact that Kurt said in the email earlier on that Newcastle have only won 1 game away all season, and they have 2 of their remaining 3 are away.
Yeah, away.
So if Wigan can pull off some points and then rely on Newcastle's shocking away record, then they might have a chance. But saying that, they do have Arsenal, they do have, a couple of tough teams to play with their remaining games. But I'm picking Wigan to go down.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. What about in Europe, Bex? Who's left to make it?
I think Chelsea are going to claim the 3rd spot. just because they do have a game in hand over Arsenal, and they're far enough ahead, I think, with Tottenham and their remaining games. And I think Arsenal, with their really strong run of the last however many games they've won, I think that they're going to clinch that qualifying spot. And I just don't think Tottenham's got it in them for the Champions League. I know they got Bale back and whatnot, but just watching their game against Wigan, they were lucky to get the equaliser.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, their first, like Bale's first goal is you always want to you love seeing a goal like that. The sloppiness of the keeper, but the sheer hard work of chasing it down like Dwight York did way back when for United a couple of times, or Andy Cole. But it was a well-deserved goal. But their other one was like a goal-mouth scramble. It just wasn't. It's sloppy defensively from Tottenham, so I think they'll claim a Europe spot. But I just also, if Liverpool beat Everton this weekend, they may have a chance for Europe. But if Everton come out with a draw or a win, I don't think Liverpool are going to be able to get there.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll win.
Confidence coming from Liverpool.
If you win, then I'm back in Liverpool.
Really? Over Everton? For that, because, boy, that's tight.
For peace and quiet in the household.
There you go. Oh, there you go.
You are a very wise woman. I appreciate that.
Bex is on record, Beck's husband.
And I have a soft spot. I have a soft spot for Stevie Gerrard.
Oh, who doesn't? Come on.
Yeah.
I don't. But anyway. I'm not going to lose any sleep if Liverpool don't make it to a Euro place. I'd like to see Everton overtake Spurs. I'd like to see Everton in Europe next season. And I think the possibilities are strong there, just for what Bex, for the reasons Bex just laid out there. But I don't know. Those are making the last few weeks of the season very exciting. I think both the struggle for survival at the bottom of the table and those last few European spots is making everybody play hard, and the excitement. You just wonder if people are going to be playing really tight out of fear, or if they're really just going to go for it, and we'll just see what the managers can do and put together.
One more thing on that. If Everton make Europe, it will be interesting to see if Moyes stays and who else they can keep at the club.
Yeah, what do we know anything about Moyes' contract situation?
No, I've only heard hearsay at this point.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting.
Because, this guy's going to be gold. If he leaves, I don't know. Everton better work hard to keep him there. He's been able to make gold out of garbage for a long time.
He really has. And he does things like, he brings in, I would think Benteke would be a great fit for Everton if they're going to lose Fellaini or anyone like that. Everton typically do that. The top teams pull from them, but he pulls from the average teams, but he pulls the quality players that just want an in into the Premier League, and then he pulls from there. So I don't know. If he stays, if Everton make him stay or are able to get him to stay, I'm expecting big things from Everton.
Gosh, can you imagine Benteke and Fellaini in an attacking side?
I just feel like that would be only good news for Everton fans, but I think it's going to be one or the other, to be honest.
Really?
I don't think Fellaini's going to stay. He put in a transfer request in January.
Yeah, but if they're in Europe though, and Benteke comes on, and Moyes is the man. I don't know. I don't know what his aspirations are. Where do you think Fellaini would go? Would he stay in England or would he go elsewhere?
Yeah, I think he would stay in England. I think that if a top 4 team comes in for him, like a Tottenham, or for some reason United, I just don't see him really at United. But if one of those top 4 teams went for him, I think he would go, definitely.
I wonder if City would want him.
Yeah, but
they already have Yaya Toure.
Yeah, he's too...
Yeah, that never stopped them from buying stupid anyway.
Okay, I take that back.
There you go. I'm sorry, Bex, I interrupted you. What were you saying?
You're fine. That's a good point, because Man City bought Wayne Bridge, for God's sake.
They'll buy anything that moves.
They will buy anything.
James Milner.
Oh.
Gareth Barry. They just buy people just to have them, just to keep up the numbers for the +5 rule.
Well, they did for a long time what Chelsea was doing, trying to buy people to keep other teams from getting them.
Yep.
They
Sean
tried that
Rice
little
Phillips.
thing for a while. Yeah. Oh, good Lord. But
What a horrible idea. He ruined his career going to Chelsea.
yeah, a lot of people have, but I don't know. I don't rate City. Well, a lot depends on if they get a Mourinho or somebody like that at the helm. But if they keep Mancini, I don't think you're going to see anything different from a very, very talented team. I think that they're going to be missing that certain something again.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, supposedly Dzeko's already gone.
Really?
Is that for real? Yeah. Is that the rumor?
He tweeted it the other day.
Oh God.
Yeah, and one of my
Players and tweets.
one of my Bosnian friends translated it for me. Basically says I'm going.
Uh-oh.
Oh God, I gotta call Tariq.
Signed one of those pre-contract things like Goats did or Lewandowski.
Okay.
And and I think he's a good player for up front for a team like that. But they just don't know what they're doing. That team is so schizophrenic. They have not got an idea of how to play or what to play. Do they want to play?
It's not really a team. It's a collection of superb individuals. But
and they are all good, very very much so.
Yep, but at this level, you can be beat by a less talented team.
Oh yeah. Well, last night Aston Villa showed that they could play as a team.
Yeah.
I think.
I think they showed that they're going to survive by that kind of performance.
Benteke, great, not as great as Heskey, but he's coming close. The legend.
There you go. I was going to say, you remember put legend in front of ML Heskey.
Always. I had to put legend in front of it. I know.
Yeah, we'll have to fine you if you don't, get that straight.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, getting into the final little segment here, getting into next week's fixture action coming up. How is it important for the teams right now to really take charge to get those final few results? Fu, what's the ultimate thing for Arsenal to do to make sure that they get what they want in the Champions League spot?
Well, just to play as consistent as they've been playing for the last 2 months.
Yeah, who do they have coming up this weekend?
QPR away.
Oh, there you go. There's a win.
Yeah, seriously.
At crappy Loftus Road. Hopefully send Harry Redknapp out of a job.
He's supposed to be staying.
Yeah, didn't he say the other day that he's staying?
Yeah. I think the brass said that, hey, he's their guy.
Yeah, that's just before you get the hatchet, too.
Yeah,
we love you dearly.
The dreaded vote of confidence.
That's right, the vote of confidence. You're in the press, you're screwed. And then we have QPR away. We have Wigan at home, which is not an easy fixture because last year we turned around and lost to them, dicked around and lost to them, almost tossed us. And then we have Newcastle away. Sweet, but I to be honest with you, if I could send Alan Pardew down, that would be great. Maybe you'll have another brain hemorrhage again and freaking pass out something.
Don't hold back. Tell us what you really think.
Listen, man, when he came out with that whole French thing, Arsenal playing nothing but a bunch of foreign players, and look what he's doing.
And then, now he has a French squad. That was
Look what he's doing. And they're not even good. He might have like one good French player, but the rest of them really don't play for their national team, do they? No, they don't.
No, they don't.
I don't want to hear that. And we weren't the first team to do it, for crying out loud. Chelsea did it in 1999 in the FA Cup.
Well, it's
I bring that up all the time.
Yeah, it's a different time now. I mean, foreigners play throughout most leagues now, and it's just the way the world is. So we got to get used to it. But they have what was this the first time in Premiership history they had 6 French players on one team playing on the field?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's
Sunderland had the entire Scottish national team playing on their squad.
Yeah,
that's 22.
Yeah, that's Britain.
That's Britain, right?
Count. Britain and Wales, that doesn't count. All right, but I think Arsenal got through the tough part with United, both mentally and tactically, getting that point, still in a Champions League spot, And, if they play clean and easy, it might be good for them for the rest of the season. So,
well, if they had beaten United, I would say they had a chance at second.
Oh yeah, no
but
doubt.
They didn't beat United, so and that just puts them in the hole. Puts their back up against it. I can only hope the Chavs and the Scum do something terribly awful to each other.
Oh, they got the potential, dude.
Besides play ugly football.
Well, they got the potential to do that for sure.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I know. But, we'll see. We'll see. I would much rather third than fourth, just so August can be nice and easy.
Yeah, don't have to worry about the qualifier or anything.
No, I'd much rather have the Chavs there.
Yeah.
Much rather have the Chavs there instead.
Okay. Well, let's move on to Fast, first of all, with Liverpool. Who's coming up for you guys this weekend?
Well, the big one's Everton.
Yeah, the big derby match.
I know, that's always usually a good one, Merseyside derby and all. Then we've got Fulham away and QPR at home.
Looks good for you guys.
Mhm.
If anybody's,
but, like I said, with Liverpool, you just never know. So
yeah, you had mentioned before on the podcast they're sort of like the Yo-Yo Club, sort of a Jekyll and Hyde. But if you get a result against Everton, and with the uncertain play in front of you, you got an outside chance of that Europa League spot.
That is true. As long as we beat Everton, I don't really mind because it's Everton.
Yeah, that's like the big game. That's like with Kurt and Sunderland and Newcastle. Regardless of other honors, beating Newcastle and getting the bragging rights is everything. It gets you through the summer.
Yep. Sadly so. I need something.
Yeah, understood. Well, Bex, what about Leeds?
Well, we have Watford, and if Hull City lose and Watford win, Watford can clinch the automatic promotion spot. So, being a Leeds fan, and my best mate and my stepdad's best mate being Watford fans, we want to upset Watford and we don't want them to get an automatic promotion. So, Leeds have got to win to make Watford do it the hard way. That's it. That's it. It's just one more game left for everyone, and then.
That's right. They're a little bit further ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, they always finish earlier than the Premier League, but it's Watford away, and I don't know. I mean, it's probably unlikely that we do that, but yeah, I'm hoping to upset them, just to upset my friends.
Well, you're going to have a whole bunch of Hull City people rooting for you too.
Yeah, that's true.
So anything can happen. Okay. Any other games that interest you, perhaps in the Premier League? People keep correcting me about that, but yeah, in the Premier League.
Really, they do? That's interesting. These games, no. I mean, I'll probably actually be more interested in the ones that are fighting for a crucial spot or relegation survival, because at this point, it's so important that teams do make the Champions League or the Europa League, or Europa League they call it now, or surviving relegation, because these clubs are set to not only lose millions if they don't qualify for these spots, but they're also going to find it really hard to keep the players at the club if they don't have those goals that, they set out to achieve at the beginning of the season. So there's a lot of teams and players that have a lot to fight for in order to, secure their future and whatnot. So it's going to be interesting, but there's nothing in particular. I mean, I do like the whole, isn't it Man U Chelsea this weekend?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I mean, Liverpool.
And Chelsea played Tottenham.
Yeah, I mean, all of those games. I like those dogfight games where, it's going to be quality football / who wants it the most, with some dirty tackles in there as well and some feistiness. So.
Yeah, and it like you say, there is so much at stake.
So much.
Yeah, both at the bottom and at the top. I mean, because financially speaking, getting into Europe is huge for a lot of clubs. I mean, United doesn't survive if they don't make it in Europe. The debt they got. But,
you think Clint Dempsey went from Fulham to Tottenham to not qualify for Europe?
Oh man.
Yay! That would make me so happy.
I'm waiting for that
would
to
make me
happen.
so happy.
I want to see that interview.
Teach you should have just stayed at Fulham and been a god for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he
Had to go
could have
play for
been.
Scum.
Could have
Had to go
been.
play for Scum.
Yeah.
Or,
Boy, of all places in London. Absolutely.
He could have gone and played for QPR for crying out loud.
Yeah, join Redknapp and the brigade there. So.
Well, they might actually stayed up though if they'd actually had someone that could score goals consistently.
I don't know. They need a lot. They needed a lot more than that. I think they're pretty god awful.
By the way, I'm looking at the table and Hull have Cardiff, and Cardiff have already won the league, so that's a tough game for Hull to pull off. So they might be banking on Leeds because there's only 1 point between Hull and Watford.
Right.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's a barn burner. Hopefully they'll be a way for me to watch those matches from the championship over the weekend. But yeah, that's going to be just as interesting as the relegation race, relegation battle, survival battle in the Premier League. Excuse me, God. But okay, well, given I came up with a question of the week this week, and it kind of was spurned from what I saw happening between Manchester United and Arsenal with the Guard of Honor. And the question basically is, given what Robin van Persie has done for Arsenal over the recent history, was it really right for Arsenal fans to boo him on Sunday, or do you see that as appropriate? And let me start with Fu.
Of course. I wish you'd have started with everyone else because then I would have heard what they wanted and what they wanted to say. But
I got to start with you.
It's everyone's right to do what they want to do.
Okay.
In fact, I haven't gotten to talk to Kent at length about the match at all because he obviously got home and his wife was happy to see him. But and those fairy tales do come true sometimes. But literally though, it's everybody's right, and it really didn't catch on. I mean, there are quite a few people that were booing, but it wasn't 60,000 whistling and jeering him and calling him a rapist or anything like that.
Right. What do you think about the way? Go ahead.
But I'm to be honest with you though, if I was there, I probably would have booed him the first time they called out his name, and then that would probably been it. Mm-hmm. I'd have been like, I'm displeased with you as a person, and I'm going to let you know. But after that, I'd have been like, nah, screw it. I want to be behind my team. I'm not going to worry about attacking somebody else, unless he turns into a real villain like Adebayor.
Oh, God.
It's really right. I mean, it's really hard not to be happy for a player who actually has realized a dream that he has had, and realized that 8 years of endeavors were flushed down the toilet. And that's the other side of the coin too. 8 years of people saying, do we need to get rid of this guy? What is wrong with him? Why is he not doing this? And he turns around and bags some important goals for the champions of the league the next year when he leaves. So, of course, disappointment is like that. But, people have a right to do what they want. And, at least it wasn't, I guess, overboard, I guess you could say.
Yeah. What do you think about RVP's conduct during the match? I mean, he did score a penalty, and his reaction was, I thought, respectful. Even after the game, he went to the Arsenal supporters to clap and greet them, and so forth. I mean,
because he did that. He did that away also when we were away.
Right.
Scored and didn't celebrate or anything like that. Of course, I took him off my fantasy team because I didn't want him to score.
Still on mine.
Yeah, I know. You realize your wife is ahead of you in your league, right? I'm just going to let you know that.
Yeah, I got it.
This is the first time I've already said that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'll do that. This is the worst I've ever done in that league, but next year's another year.
You're ahead of angry, though. I have to admit that. But it's interesting.
My team's playing like Liverpool this year.
As long as you don't.
Sorry.
I'm mad because Suarez got banned for 10 matches because he was a great player to have on fantasy.
Oh yeah, he got some points. That is true. I had him for a while, believe it or not. Yeah.
Damn it, man.
Time to transfer though.
I refuse to have Gareth Bale. stand on my premise.
He's another points hog, though.
No Tottenham players will be on my squad.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's like no City player is going to be on mine. But anyway.
I can understand it. But, see, that's the thing. That's the thing, he does have class. Look, he said at the end of last year, the last interview, pardon my French, the last interview he gave on the news as an Arsenal player, he says, I will always remember my time as an Arsenal player. And if that didn't tell everybody that he was leaving, why in the hell did they believe he wasn't going to leave?
Yeah.
Why? And then we went and bought all those players at the beginning of the summer where we normally don't do that. Should have told you we are preparing for Van Persie to leave.
And you've done quite well, I think. I mean, it was shaky at first, I think, as the players settle, but you guys are in a Champions League spot right now. You got promise for next year. And
we're headed to Tottenham.
Yeah, and who knows what you'll bring in over the summer. Because I think Wenger's ready to buy.
Well, 18 years and running ahead of the Tottenham. That's all I care about, really.
There you go. The streak
there's
continues.
A lot of people that say that. That's right. The streak continues.
All right.
I witnessed 20 some odd years without winning or 18 years without winning a league title. So 8 seems like a tittle to me.
Yeah. If you're in contention, keep putting the pieces in there and don't rock the boat too much.
Yep.
Because you're close.
Yeah. Very close.
Yeah.
Very close.
What about you, Bex, on the question about do you have an opinion about Robin Van Persie and the reception he got at Old Trafford?
I mean, I heard that.
I mean, at Arsenal.
Yeah. Some fans weren't entering the stadium until the Guard of Honor had been done.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just Robin Van Persie was the bigger person. He didn't celebrate to show respect. He applauded the fans at the end to show respect. And he was the bigger person. But I mean, he knew this was going to come. It just shows him that the fans were that passionate about him and so gutted that he left that, it absolutely did break their heart. Whether he had gone to Chelsea, because he ain't going to go to a lower level team other than like a Chelsea or a City or obviously Man United where he went. Ultimately, Arsenal probably would have been most happy if he'd left the country. But at the same time, when Fabregas left, they were still mad about that. But it just showed RVP that the Arsenal fans did care. But it's all part of being a footballer. It's all about suffering I'm not going to say suffering the consequences because he moved to a club where he, earns equally as much, if not a little bit more than what he did at Arsenal. So, but you've got to expect the banter and the abuse a little bit, and that's why he had to get off Twitter. But
right.
he handled it very well. It could have been a heck of a lot worse. And at the end of the day, he's got the last laugh because he finally won a trophy.
Yeah, at the first attempt.
So. But his grey hair is way more apparent now than it was a year ago.
You'll see him on the Just for Men hair dye adverts instead of Luis Figo now.
Yeah, the before and after pictures, I can't wait to see those. What about you, Faz? Do you have an opinion about the whole charade there?
I think they had a right to boo him in that respect, just because we've been through like Torres going to Chelsea and Owen obviously going and committing the ultimate Judas by going to United. But so I think in that respect they had every right to do that. But I do think Van Persie handled it really well, so credit to him for showing that much respect.
Yeah, I mean, just from my own perspective, the correlation I have is with Ronaldo. The big difference, of course, is that he went to a different league. But here was a guy I still respect because of what he did when he was here. And that's the part that I would hope that most Arsenal fans would remember, is the service that he gave. And the fact that when he left, he didn't do it in an antagonistic way. He wasn't Adebayor. He wasn't like Tevez when he left, slagging off the manager, slagging off the fans, the city, everybody that he could think of. There's two different ways to think about a top player that leaves you, and it depends on the respect they show. And it's night and day for people like Ronaldo and RVP as opposed to somebody like Tevez or Adebayor. I mean, what Adebayor did when he came back with City against Arsenal, running the length of the pitch to show up Arsenal fans, was kind of ridiculous. And I'm surprised that, he was surprised at the abuse he gets whenever he plays Arsenal. I mean, you got to expect it with that type of attitude. But, that's kind of the way I think about it. But all good stuff, everybody. That's all the time we got for this session of the Extra Time Football Podcast. I want to especially thank Faz for jumping back on the show, giving us your quality content. Always appreciate it.
Oh, thanks.
You have been missed, and we have a lot of people in the audience who look forward to your YouTube videos and your articles that you sometimes post. So keep it up. Look forward to those. But yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. We appreciate the content, Bex, Fu, Faz, and we look.
Thank you very much.
Definitely love it. And look forward to hearing from everybody again. And just for the audience out there, we, here on the Extra Time Podcast, we talk a lot about the English League. But we do have another podcast that we share, and that's the Special Ones podcast, headed by our refugee Andre Sherrard, who get into a little bit more of the world scene. They talk a lot about what's going on in football in Spain, Italy, and the rest of the world. So please check that out as well. It's a quality show. And until next week, everybody have a good week, and we'll talk to you then. The Extra Time Podcast is brought to you by Images Frozen in Time Photography, your full-service photography agency. Also, make sure you check out the Special Ones podcast featuring Andre Sherrard and his crew as they talk on a wide range of world football topics. Thank you for listening this week, and we'll talk to you again next week.